What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today I actually unlocked my second talent buff tile, and that was a pretty great upgrade to my account, so I wanted to make a video about it, show you how you can get a second talent buff tile too, and what I think about the different faction skills, because we haven't talked about this in depth yet, and I think some of those proved more worthy or more valuable than the others. Starting off, I focused on the Wilder faction skill, and this is for a pretty easy reason. I use it the most. I often use an Ulmus Iron team. Some variations of those have been on nearly every single stage on the AFK progress. I just today hit AFK 600. There is, by the way, a Stellar Crystal pack, if you're wondering about this, on 600, every 150 stages or so it seems. And this team, Ulmus Iron, Arden regularly, and two more heroes, whether it be Carolina or, for example, Rohan, have been pretty much a standard there on those stages. And this, at least on the talent stages, activates the Wilder faction skill. So I thought, okay, let's go for that. If I use it the most, let's make this team a bit stronger. And this skill is actually quite nice. It gives you a big shield at the start of battle. You lose 50% HP, gain a big shield. Your prime carrier, that is the hero that is placed on a talent buff tile, is unaffected, so he can't be CC'd while the shield is active. And you gain 70 attack speed, and your ranged attacks have infinite range. So pretty decent, not too insane. The Lightbearer faction skill is actually stronger, but is more difficult to activate. You would need to play 3 Lightbearer heroes, which you rarely do. So I focused on this. And activating the second talent buff tile is pretty easy. You have 4 so-called stages. This is stage 1, this first tree. And once you unlock this and you get to this point, it will ask you to activate different faction talents until you've reached a specific number. I think it was about 30 or 40. I don't quite remember. And once you've done this, you can proceed to the next stage. This is stage 2. And in stage 2, you not only gain a new major skill, you also gain this extra talent buff tile. It's pretty expensive. I just today unlocked it, and considering you get it through AFK progress, and I got to AFK progress 600 before unlocking it, you can kind of imagine that it kind of needs a ton of stuff. Let me show you how it works in the talent trials. In the talent trials, this is a pretty normal team we have right here. With Iron, we have Arden, we have Carolina. This is more damage focus, actually. And we have a Vala in the enemy team, which is quite annoying. And this team is supposed to CC the most of the time. This is just making use of Ulmus being able to CC, Iron being able to CC, and then we have our trusty Rohan bringing us more energy so we can keep it up easier. On this stage, the biggest risk and what can happen to us is us being absolutely destroyed by Vala, by the way. We have 2 of those fields. We can't move the fields. They are set to this position. So yeah, this is one thing to consider. Let's just try and battle this. You can see right at the start, we are damaged by true damage, gain this massive shield, and they don't move at all because their ranged attacks have just infinite range. Ranged actually means when they don't hit an adjacent tile, where they don't not only hit heroes in adjacent tiles. While this is the case on some other heroes as well, like Corrin, I experimented a little bit, and while Corrin has 2 range, he still moves to the enemy, so the normal attacks can still be set to like 1 range or still be not influenced by this infinite range stuff that is on here. But we can see how powerful this overall is. We have massive attack speed buffs, massive shield buffs on our damage dealers here, so we're able to deal a ton of damage while we kept up the CC. There are some other combinations that you can do as well. The most prominent that I used a little bit and is actually quite insane is when you use Iron and give Iron the shield, because Iron will gain attack speed, which is great for him, more CC for us. But also, while he has that attack speed and while he has that shield, he gains 50% dodge rate while his shield is active. So we can give him a massive shield and instantly give him 50% dodge rate, which is an insane boost. And if you are on a high enough level, it's actually 80% dodge rate. Absolute insane boost and absolute massive shield, and that is great for pushing actually. So a very nice asset here. Would I have taken Wilder again? Yeah, definitely. No question about it. I think in terms of the skills, this is a very nice one. We get some pretty decent normal buffs. We get nice attack speed. We have a nice shield. It is just overall very, very decent. Do I consider it the strongest one? No, not at all. I think Lightbearer is the strongest. If it wasn't for the heroes that are in Lightbearer being mostly kind of weak, which might change through the season, we are getting Sinbad, we're getting some other heroes for the Lightbearer faction, I would prefer Lightbearer. We saw the insane stuff we could do with the Roan in there. If you haven't seen the video yet, it's Roan Infinite Energy. It's an insane strategy. And the power of this Lightbearer faction tile. This Lightbearer faction tile repeats the ultimate of a hero that is the prime carrier of this. The prime carrier is always the hero that is placed on the talent buff tile, by the way, if you don't know that. And there is there is the insane combination with Roan. Thorin is insane if you place him on that tile, because he will recover ton of energy when he does ton of life or ton of HP when he does his ult. Can actually also deal a ton of damage. And there are multiple things that you can do. And I can only imagine the power you would have if you had two of those. One maybe with Roan, the other one with some other interesting hero, maybe double Iron even or something crazy. You could let your fantasy run crazy because there are a ton of things here. You also have haste in there. So it's a very nice thing. It's just that Lightbearer isn't too great. Mauler is also a pretty common one. And as you can see, all of those 4 base factions here have this the second talent buff tile on the second stage. Celestial Hypergen is a different story. I have to show you this as well. Mauler is pretty cool. It's also used sometimes. I don't mind upgrading it to stage 10. It proved not to be as insane as I thought. I thought it would be pretty cool because you teleport an ally to the area with the most enemies. But I often notice that even if you do that, they tend to target the frontmost hero still. So they sometimes just run past this hero, you just teleport it in there. And while that can also be kind of an advantage that you're not like the center most focused of all of your heroes, it would be kind of cool to just teleport Brutus in there. And just have him tank everything. It didn't work really out. And often when I see teams that have this Mauler thing active and cleared AFK stages, they don't even use it. So it is not that great of a faction skill. A Graveborn, I think it's just the description is very, very confusing. And I didn't see any use yet. I think it could be cool. Just attack, fist death and everything buffs. It's always nice, but I didn't see people use it too much. And yeah, that's a different thing. I thought this would be cool. The Celestial Hypergen one. Turns out not so much. I didn't use it at all. I didn't even notice, but the times where I use 3 Celestial or Hypergen heroes in the same team, even though I have them all, are fairly limited. Fairly limited. Only really happens in PvP, and other than that, like, that I use Scalita, Fresto, Tildine, something like this could happen, but there's no meta team around this at the moment. So even though I leveled this, I never used it. I tried it once, it wasn't great. It is some true damage with some stun. It could be nice, but I just didn't saw play. Maybe the next Celestial Hypergen will change that. One interesting thing to note, this is actually not just a normal talent buff tile that you get, it's a dark talent buff tile with a different ability. So maybe something to note there. I think it's, even though it is not that meta, it's still a cool tree because we have crit in here, and crit inherently is very valuable. So that is something to note. Other than that, I think the faction talents will be more valuable pretty soon. We already have this one on level 20. Once I get this level 80 stuff out of the way, we'll get to the next stage. And of course, every single stage has some insane stuff that we get. We have an extra projectile here for the prime carrier. We have normal attack damage. We have all of that stuff that can be interesting. And those skills just grow in power. So eventually they will be very, very impactful for this season. Not only, of course, for Dura's Trial, where we will see them. I think they will play a major role in clearing Dura's Trial. And it will be a bit annoying in a way because, well, if you are stuck on those, for example, this is the Warrior Trial, you are forced into Graveborn at the moment. Oh, Lightbearer. No, it's Lightbearer. Okay, cool. It's Lightbearer. And you can't use something else. So my Lightbearer isn't upgraded, which is a bit annoying. And so I would have to respec to clear this maybe, which is possible, but it's not that great. And for Legend Trial, I think a strong skill will also make a big difference. We can see it right here. Here, for example, there's Hewin on there, which I'm not a big friend of. Maybe we switch that up a little bit. Maybe go like this. This should be pretty cool. So you can also get a view at the big iron shield, Iron there with the big shield. And got blocked by Igor. I don't think I've ever seen a hero getting blocked by Igor. Igor just placed his tombstone right in front of him. Very, very interesting. Okay, that is something that I haven't seen yet. That was very fancy. Maybe we show something else. But yeah, so would I recommend scaling into the Wilder skill tree? Definitely. Definitely. If you have if you have Iron, and if you want to play that team, which is basically almost Iron, Harden, what we just saw, Roan can be in there and Carolina. If you want to go into that, I can recommend that. That helped me through a lot of AFK stages and will just be stronger if you have the Wilder skill tree. So definitely something to consider, and I think you will do well with that, even though it's not particularly the strongest skill tree. It is quite a decent one. And has nice synergy, of course, with Iron, which you just saw. You can sometimes see the dodges there. If he gets attacked even, we have pretty good uptime of the CC right here. There's the dodge. So enabling this dodge is such a nice thing for survivability early on. It just takes away those early one-shots most of the time. So it's a very nice thing. Yeah. That being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't seen it already, there is a guide I made on Hero Drills event as well. It is already back. I didn't do it on my main account yet myself. We have in 6 hours, we have the second stage. It is already included in the guide video that I made actually, because I made this on the test server. Also already recorded the guide video for the next two. The video will come in 2 days, 6 hours, and I can already promise you that a lot of people will probably sadly need help for the last stage of Area 4, because it is rather weirdly made. And yeah, it requires you to understand Nara, and it's a bit weird of a weird stage that I had to try a few times myself. So that being kept in mind, I hope you enjoyed this video, and with that, I wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.